Hi, welcome to another video. It's a beautiful sunny day in spring. I thought I would take in the Battle of Britain Memorial just up the hill at Capel-le-Ferne. And by going up the hill, we also pass Hawkinge. Now Hawkinge was one of the airfields during the Battle of Britain. But where I'm standing now, the Jackdaw pub, just here in Denton, which in itself has kind of an old history look about it. But the Jackdaw was used in the Battle of Britain movie in the 60s. And there's a scene, it's a fabulous scene. You've got the Home Guard walking up and down here doing their parade.
Right, left, square, out!
You can imagine the camera being situated here, and you've got the Home Guard doing all their parade and stuff. And then Christopher Plummer arrives in his MG and sidles up to the wall. Amazing, the Jackdaw pub, and it looks unchanged compared to how it looked, you know, in the 60s. I would imagine it also looked like that during World War II. So the Jackdaw pub. Let's go up to the Battle of Britain Memorial and take it in. The memorial to the few. And I've arrived. So let's take a look at some of the things that they let me show you everything that they've got here. We've got the Beaverbrook wall. We've got a very fitting structure made out of bricks, which people seem to think is the actual memorial to the few. We've got the wing. Now the wing is the immersive experience, which we can't go in and see, but we've also got the cafe and a little bit of a museum. There's a car park if you want to park. The car park is the only thing that you actually pay for, apart from the immersive experience. I can't actually go into the immersive experience because they don't allow filming. I could go in, but they don't allow filming, so I can't show it on this video. So yeah, let's have a walk around, take it in. Now this is an impressive addition to the site. It was unveiled in 2001 and was designed by staff and built by brickwork students at South Kent College. The brickwork tribute is so striking that in the early days of the memorial, some visitors thought it was the National Memorial to the Few, which prompted the trust to add signage pointing across the car park to the actual memorial. When you arrive at the memorial, probably the first thing you'll see is this wall, known as the Beaverbrook Wall, in which is inscribed Churchill's famous line, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." Churchill's line, included in the speech that he gave at the House of Commons on the 20th of August 1940, at the height of the Battle of Britain, struck a chord with the nation, and the men who fought in the battle have been known as the few ever since. Many RAF squadrons had a dog as a mascot or merely as a station pet, and the Memorial Trust is no exception. Their dog, which doubles as a collection box and sits obediently at the foot of Biggin Hill Yardarm, is called Bob, for obvious reasons, right? Bob, Battle of Britain. The flagpole at the memorial is technically a yardarm, reflecting the RAF's pride in its historic links to the Royal Navy. The RAF ensign and the Union flag are flown from the yardarm daily, while on special occasions such as the Memorial Day in July and the Battle of Britain Day on the 15th of September, the flags of all the nations represented in the battle are flown. Equally importantly, the ensign is flown at half-mast when one of the few passes away. Now this is the Hawker Hurricane Mark I replica designated USX, and it represents as precisely as possible the number 56 Squadron aircraft in which 20-year-old pilot officer Geoffrey Page was shot down and terribly burned on the 12th of August 1940. During the Battle of Britain, there were actually more Hurricanes in service with Fighter Command than Spitfires, and they shot down more enemy aircraft. In the later years of the war, the Hurricane achieved further fame in its tank buster role, and it was not until 1947 that the type left the squadron service of the RAF. Now, Wing Commander Geoffrey Page, DSO OBE DFC, died on the 5th of August 2000, aged 80, shortly after attending a memorial day at Capel-le-Ferne that marked the 60th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. This is the Supermarine Spitfire Mark I replica, which represents as precisely as possible the aircraft YTJ, serial number R6775, flown most by Flying Officer Geoffrey Quill AFC during his short operational attachment to number 65 Squadron from the 6th of August to the 24th of August 1940. Now, we might remember Geoffrey Quill if we've ever watched the Spitfire movie. Is it called The First of the Few, in which Geoffrey Quill is the test pilot of R.J. Mitchell's Spitfire. It's a fascinating film, so it's interesting to see that Geoffrey Quill actually fought also in I was going to say World War II, but you know what I mean, the Battle of Britain. Spitfire is, of course, the most famous fighter ever to serve in the Royal Air Force, and the most famous campaign in which it took part was the Battle of Britain. Down to earth, stainless steel sculpture of the downed Junkers Ju-87B Stuka. Stainless steel, life size, of course. It's a strange one. Doesn't tarnish or rust. Huge beast. I'm not sure about the significance of the stainless steel, unless that's perhaps how... Well, no, they wouldn't have been built in stainless steel, would they? I kind of want it to be, you know, in proper colours. Nonetheless, it is fascinating. Down Stuka. I suppose if I hold the camera like this, you don't see the stainless steel so much with the sun. As a kid, I made Airfix models. It was one of my passions from probably the age of about 8 till I was 15. But I don't recall ever making a Stuka. But they had the propellers here that caused that whine when the Stuka went into its dive, which people thought was very terrifying, and I can imagine it was, because you knew there was a dive bomber coming down. Actually, I had thought I didn't appreciate it as stainless steel, but it doesn't look too bad in the sun, does it? You can see whether it's been rubbed to shape it, and it's giving us all this kind of fancy shiny lines. And just above the visitor centre, you've got the Cockpit Cafe, which I'm reliably informed sells the likes of coffees, teas, ice creams, sandwiches, and occasionally hot food. I might go up there to conclude and have a coffee, but let's go inside the visitor centre and just take a little meander around and see what they've got, because it looks like they've got some model kits and the like. Be interesting to see. can take the lift or you can take the stairs to the cockpit cafe and the viewing balcony. Let's go and have a look. Of course you would expect all this kind of stuff in here, wouldn't you? It does give you a nice view, doesn't it, over the whole memorial. The aircraft to the right there, and the yardarm, Bob the dog, and the wall, and a view right out over the channel. The central statue was carved by Harry Gray of the Carving Workshop in Cambridge, and he later revealed that after being asked by the Battle of Britain Memorial Trust to create a focal point of the site, he settled on the idea of a pilot, but found it difficult to come up with a design that he was actually happy with. One day during a break, Harry's trainee sat down and adopted a contemplative pose that provided the sculptor with the inspiration he had previously not been able to find. And it was like a eureka moment, I suppose. And that pose became the blueprint for the statue of the seated airman looking out to sea. Now the figure wears a Irvine jacket for a very important reason. By hiding the airman's uniform, it disguises both his nationality and his rank. Is this a British officer with a half-dozen kills to his name, or an NCO gunner from another country? Both played their parts, and the memorial reflects the fact. The central figure sits on a propeller boss surrounded by the badges of all the Allied squadrons and other units that took part in the battle. The blades of the propeller are set into the ground, making the memorial as striking from the air as it is for the visitors on the ground. I actually think that the Irvine jacket is quite apt because it hides any distinguishable insignia or reference to who the pilot may be, but it also could represent the flight crews who maintained the aircraft, the maintenance crews who fixed the bombed runways, and that's men and women, you know, the flying corps, just everybody. Fitting memorial. This is the Christopher Foxley Norris Memorial Wall, which was named in tribute to the late Air Chief Marshal Sir Christopher Foxley Norris, who himself was a Hurricane fighter pilot in 1940. The wall contains the names of all those aircrew known to have flown at least one sortie with an accredited squadron or unit of the Royal Air Force during the Battle of Britain in 1940, including those who survived the war and, in some cases, only left us recently. The names are listed in alphabetical order without rank or decoration, highlighting the fact that every one of the few contributed to the RAF's victory. And of course this is the same reason the aircrew in the centre of the National Memorial to the Few wears the Irvine jacket to disguise his trade, rank and nationality. He could be an ace, or he could be a sergeant pilot who was lost on his first sortie. They all played their part. One of the country's most visionary leaders during the Battle of Britain is remembered at the end of the wall, and it's the bust of Lord Dowding, who, as Air Chief Marshal Sir Hugh Dowding, led RAF Fighter Command throughout the Battle of Britain in 1940. On the 70th anniversary commemorating the Battle of Britain in 2010, the bust of Air Chief Marshal Sir Keith Park was unveiled. Sir Keith, who commanded the RAF's No. 11 Fighter Command, the squadrons that bore the brunt of the Battle of Britain, has been credited as one of the men whose leadership and vision helped to deny the Luftwaffe victory. I think it was Sir Keith Park in the Battle of Britain that we see him arriving in as a hurricane in a white overall. So he was very much involved in the whole Battle of Britain. It's quite a sombre place, but it's also a very fitting place to have the memorial to the few. Because I don't think there is actually anything else that commemorates, just how vital the RAF played their role in defending Britain in the summer of 1940. And this is a lovely place because look, it overlooks Folkestone down there. You've got the coast. You can just imagine all the vapour trails as the battle ensued. I like the fact that they've built the wall and they've got this figure in the middle representing any one of the crew or the pilots that took part in the battle. And it was a decisive battle because Goering had said he would master the air so that Hitler could then have all his troops come and, do a landing because we couldn't defend against the landing. And I believe the decisive day, Battle of Britain Day, the 15th of September, do comment if I've got this wrong, but I've got it in my head, I haven't researched it, that Churchill had approached the Air Chief Marshal, what have we got in reserve? And the reply came, nothing, it's all up. And of course they had the Spitfire fund that was going on, wasn't it, that all the general public were sacrificing their fencing and their pots and pans so that they could smelt the metal to make new Spitfires and Hurricanes. So that was the Battle of Britain Memorial here at Capel-le-Ferne. It's free to come in, and the only thing you'll pay for is the scramble experience, but I can't go in there, as I said, because I can't do any filming. But definitely worth a visit if you're coming up this way, or you live here, you're in the local area, just come out for a Sunday stroll, as I've done. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.